Money Monday, presented by Oklahoma Central Credit Union.
From help with money for retirement to how financially navigate increases in prices for food and housing, it is Money Monday. Our financial expert and good friend Paul Hood from Hood CPAs is here to help us make better decisions when it comes to our money. Last month, the Social Security's trustees issued a report warning of pending depletion of reserves. It projected that the trust fund banking retirement benefits would run out of money by the year 2033. Paul, we've talked about this before, but how important is it for folks to have some type of plan B and not rely solely on Social Security?
Well, Brian, that's a real simple question to answer. Obviously, you never want to put your future in the hands of somebody else if you can help it. So, the old adage of short-term pain means long-term gain. And really, retirement doesn't take age, it takes money. So the power is that you live below your means and you save right now so that you can buy back your time in the future. Part of the problem, Brian, and I have been saying this for a long time, anytime the federal government gets involved, they mess things up. So part of the problem with the Social Security thing is we've had a lot of people, the government shut us down. I'm not going to argue whether it's valid or not valid for COVID, but they shut us down. So all of a sudden, people aren't working, they're not paying Social Security. And so it takes it back, it's a step back. So yeah, you should always provide for yourself. I wouldn't count on Social Security being there. If it is, yay, high five, and we'll determine that. What really matters is 5 years from retirement. But plan for yourself. And we do that all the time, to sit down and say, what cash flow are we going to need? And how much are we going to have? And how do we modify our current lifestyle to be able to buy back that time?
All right, to groceries now. The country's biggest supermarket chain, Kroger, blaming inflation on increases in prices of groceries. The company says it has no choice but to pass that cost on to consumers. How should families adjust their budget when it comes to bracing for higher prices at the grocery store?
So this is a tough one. The reality is most of the people that we sit and meet with, we find that they don't really have a money problem or an income problem. They have an outgo problem. So it's just really, if people would just sit down and even maybe do the Dave Ramsey thing, where you take envelopes and you put cash in them for the controllable things like eating out, those type of things. So most people are going to have to maybe slow down on eating out, budget more, be more, maybe buy generic type things instead of name brand. Most of the time they're white labeled and made by the name brand anyway. So times get tough. You have to, you kind of tighten the belt, control where your money's going. It's the same story, different song. We just have to watch what we do. Hopefully it'll turn around. We don't know. Inflation is because a majority of it is because of two things. One, the government is printing money. So the dollar is devalued, so therefore things cost more. It takes more dollars to buy the thing. And then second, people just aren't working, so therefore supply is down. So supply versus demand, the demand is still there, the supply is down, so therefore things cost more for that as well.
Yeah, groceries are up, rent is up as well. National rent median rose by more than 11%. With an increase in rent, should a renter look at the option of buying a house instead of continuing to rent? You and I were talking, my rent just went up almost $100 a month, the most ever for me. I've been renting since I was 18 years old.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We're kind of the victims of our government and the COVID and all the thing that's going on. So people weren't able, owners of properties weren't able to evict people. The best that they could do would go to their bank and say, hey, can you give me a break and suspend this? So they're all behind. A lot of the people that own rental property are behind because they couldn't enforce the contract of people renting. So it's a tough situation. So you should always look at buying. Buying means that you're actually gaining some ground. You're creating equity in the property, the payments you make every month. So you should always look at buying. The problem with buying is usually the down payment.
Mm-hmm. If my rent goes up anymore, I'm going to have to move in with you and your family.
Come on, come on.
You got the room over there.
We do, come on.
All right, thanks, Paul. And if you have a financial question you'd like for us to talk about next week, please send your question to moneymondays@griffin.news.